Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from SFGate published on March 28th, written by Karun Demirjalan and Devlin Barrett for the Washington Post, I'm assuming, or Devlin's from the Washington Post at least. Democrats say they will accuse Barr of a cover-up if he delivers incomplete Mueller report. That title alone should basically have even normies that lean left in their voting and tend to vote Democrat or odd Democrats go, maybe I should second guess what I'm doing here in continuing to vote for them. Because this just goes to show how delusional they are. They've lost. The Mueller report makes them all look like shit. And they're so desperate, they're so grasping at straws at this point that they will say that Barr is covering up for Trump and Russia and all this other shit. If there's even, say, the names of people testifying at the grand jury that don't need their personal information exposed, redacted, because it's supposed to be redacted by law. Interesting. House Democrats are ready to accuse Attorney General William Barr of a cover-up to protect President Donald Trump if he refuses to detail for Congress the information Special Counsel Robert Mueller provided the grand jury during his investigation of Russia's interference in the 2016 presidential election. Detail is an understatement. They want all of it. They want the personal information of everyone that was testifying and everything else. And the only reason why they would want that information public is probably so that people will go after them, shame them, things like that for not lying to a grand jury so that they could hang Trump. The pointed warning delivered by senior Democratic aides during a media briefing Thursday marked the latest sign of a potential legal standoff between lawmakers and the Justice Department over access to Mueller's complete findings. Barr has pledged to redact grand jury information from Mueller's report, which spans more than 300 pages according to people familiar with the document, and that process is expected to take weeks. And the reason why they do that is for the protection of those people. But you see, the Democrats, they want those people to basically be, put at risk. That's what it comes down to. Because if they're pushing this issue over the fact of, legally redacted grand jury information, if they're pushing this issue, that's the only thing they could want. It's the only thing it could be that's going on there. That is far longer than Democrats say they are prepared to wait, and they have begun to express suspicion that the Attorney General intends to prevent the public disclosure of information within Mueller's findings that may be unflattering or otherwise problematic for the president. It remains unclear what precisely Barr plans to deliver to Congress. Now, this is so funny because the Mueller report screwed them. They're still going to try pushing that inside the Mueller report is something to hang Trump with. You think they would act like adults at this point and go, I was wrong. You were right. I'm a delusional dipshit dumb fuck. And maybe I should go seek some mental help. Just a thought. This is ridiculous. If he does not include grand jury information in the summary or report or redacted report or whatever he gives Congress, that amounts to a cover-up, a House Democratic staffer told reporters during Thursday's briefing. We do not want anything in the words of the Attorney General. We want to see Robert Mueller's words. So redacting the grand jury, which is the whole intent, is to protect those who testified before the grand jury, is a cover-up to the fucking Democrats. Are you kidding me? Considering a lot of these people are probably Democrat agents, they might want to have these people's names redacted. Just saying. Because you had the Podestas testifying for fucking immunity when it came to Manafort. And they were involved. Friggin' neck deep. Right next to Manafort. In the Ukraine shit that he pled out on. They were involved in that shit. Just as much as he was. Oh my God. Oh, protecting the people who testified before the grand jury. That's a cover-up. Fuck you. I want to know who this staffer is. They want all those people's names out there. This staffer's name should be out there. so that this staffer can be ridiculed publicly and laughed at and made fun of and called out for this stupid shit. Just saying. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. House Democrats also said Thursday that they are prepared to authorize a subpoena for Mueller's full report if Barr misses the Tuesday deadline lawmakers set for him to deliver to Congress. Which, of course, they gave him a deadline to go through 300 pages and redact anything that would be classified, redact anything that would be, putting, say, the members of the grand jury or people who testified at risk, he's got to go through and find all that stuff and redact it to protect those people and protect classified information. And they give him a deadline that's a little short with the intent of him not being able to meet it so that they can do this bullshit of issuing a subpoena for the full report. They stopped short, however, of promising to issue a subpoena, even though the Attorney General has indicated he is unlikely to make their deadline. I mean, this is ridiculous. Democrats are bracing, too, for a potential fight with the administration if the White House attempts to assert executive privilege over portions of the report, the staffer said. And they are contemplating whether the House counsel should appeal to a judge on behalf of the six House committees investigating Trump if Barr does not include the grand jury information in the information he provides lawmakers. Now, here's the thing. Trump said release it to the public. They're trying to act like Trump is trying to cover this up and Trump wants to hide this. Trump has said, since the Mueller finding, hey, release it to the public. There was no collusion. Release it to the public. I mean, you can't. He's been pretty clear on that note. But see, they got to make this into something still because they've all bet their lives, their careers, their sanity, everything on this bullshit Russian collusion narrative. A spokeswoman for the Justice Department said there were no plans to give a copy of the report to the White House, but she otherwise declined to address questions concerning the Democrats' plans and insinuations about the Attorney General. I mean, hell, Trump doesn't even care. They're not planning on giving a copy to the White House because the president does not care about the investigation because he knows it's a witch hunt. Holy shit. A 4-page summary of Mueller's findings, which Barr delivered to Congress on Sunday, has exasperated Democrats' concern. The summary said that the special counsel did not establish a criminal conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia, and that he offered no conclusion on whether the president sought to obstruct justice during the investigation. Absent a firm conclusion from Mueller, Barr, in consultation with Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, determined there was insufficient evidence to establish obstruction, the summary said. Yeah. So basically, Mueller didn't want to come out and say there was no obstruction, hoping to at least give the Democrats something. Because he doesn't want to die on this hill, and he's like, if they want to run with this ball, they can run with it. And they don't like the fact that someone did look into it, which was one of their deep state shill bitches, with Rosenstein. And who was doing it with Barr. And that wasn't good enough for him. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer charged Thursday that Barr's letter was an attempt to try to exonerate Mr. Trump, one that had the odor of political expediency. Bullshit. You just don't like the fact that Mueller's report, which is what you built everything off of, turned out to be nothing. House Democratic staffers said Thursday they believe Barr's statement broke with Justice Department precedent and showed a willingness to flow Congress's oversight role. No, excuse me, but this guy, this isn't the first time he's been to the rodeo. He's been the Attorney General before. He knows what he's talking about. See, they don't like the fact that he does and the fact that he was the Attorney General before because he knew what his powers were. He knew what his authority was. And he was the one who said, look, Mueller, you've been touting this bullshit for 2 years. You've been milking it for that long, too. You put up or shut up. And they don't like that he did that. So they're going to try to find any little problem. So he does a normal thing that an attorney general would do. And they go, oh, no, that ain't normal. He broke with the Justice Department precedent. No, he didn't. Barr said during his confirmation hearing that he would be as transparent as possible within the confines of the law and Justice Department policy, but he has never committed to turning over all of the materials Mueller reviewed, which Democrats say are essential for them to determine whether the president was ever compromised by his foreign contacts, even if they did not rise to the level of criminal activity. There was no compromise. There was no foreign contacts. There was no collusion. Mueller's report flat out said there was no collusion. You're going to look for something that Mueller's report clearly did not find and had to say they did not find by using the report that literally brought him to that conclusion and brought everyone else to that conclusion involved. Yeah, okay. As Democrats pledged to continue investigating the president, Trump and his allies lashed out at his critics, chiefly the House Intelligence Committee Chairman, Rep. Adam B. Schiff, who maintains there is still evidence of collusion with Russia, even if Trump won't be charged. Oh, you mean he misrepresented that he had actual information because of his position on the House Intelligence Committee chairing it, and now is being asked to step down because of that? So you're basically trying to lend credibility to his misrepresentation using his particular position to try to give credibility to a lie. Okay. You are fake news, SFGate. This is why people don't trust the legacy media. On Thursday, the committee's Republican members formally called on Schiff to step down as chairman, submitting a letter they all signed declaring they had no faith in his ability to lead them, which I love how you leave out the fact that the reason why is because what he said was proven a lie. You've been at the center of a well-orchestrated media campaign claiming, among other things, that the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government. Rep. K. Michael Conaway, Republican Texas, said to Schiff at the start of a hearing, reading from the letter, and you leave out the fact that it was, You give what they said, but no substance behind it. Because you're sleazy, shitty, scumbag, leftist journalists. Well, left journalist. I wouldn't necessarily say leftist, but you're left. And reporting facts to you people doesn't mean shit anymore. Or all the facts. Mueller's findings, the letter said, have exposed you as having abused your position to knowingly promote false information, having damaged the integrity of the committee, and undermined the faith of the U.S. government institutions. Which, you leave at the end. This is ridiculous. You put this at the end when you're bringing up Schiff, and you just do the quote, and you don't even talk about how he did that. You just go, we won't even address it. At a news conference Thursday, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican California, compared Schiff to the disgraced late Senator Joseph McCarthy, who was at the driving force behind a campaign to expose communist infiltration in government across society. He wasn't disgraced, actually. Back then, he was considered a hero. Why? Because in academia and in government, he found a shit ton of fucking commies. A shit ton of them that were actually being directed by Moscow. Holy shit. Revisionist history much? Oh my God. His heavy-handed tactics and rampant charges of treason are remembered as one of the country's darker periods. The minority leader accused Schiff of lying to the public and smearing an innocent man. Trump, on Twitter, called on Schiff to resign from Congress. Yes, because he should resign. He should resign from his position at minimum and just be a member of Congress, if not fully resign from Congress. And I think he should fully resign for the bullshit he's pulled. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat California, backed Schiff, chastising Republicans as scaredy cats who were afraid of the truth. And this is what gets me. They're trying to play down, and this is why you don't really talk much about it. They just take the one quote of, about Schiff abusing his power. They don't look at the gravity of that. They don't even want to touch it. And they wait until the end to bring it up so that most people won't read that far.
And they bring in, they're the ones who have to put it in there because, it's out there. But they don't want to dare address it. They don't want to address the weight of something like that. They don't want to address how it's a clear abuse of power, that if he did do something like that, which he did. I mean, this is ridiculous. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi backed shift, chastising Republicans as scaredy cats who were afraid of the truth. No, you're the ones that are afraid. You're the scaredy cats, Nancy. You're the scared little putty cats. It's projection. And afraid about the truth. Trump said, release the goddamn report. You're hoping it won't be. You're literally setting everything up. That if what it needs to be legally redacted is redacted, you're going to cry cover up, you and the rest of the Democrats. So shut the fuck up. You don't want it out there. You're already just trying to create a narrative now so that you can, when what is released is out there and shows there's absolutely bullshit for what you guys claimed. When that happens, you can go, oh, it's a cover up. They're afraid of competence, she said. Coming from the biggest incompetent next to AOC, which in her case, it's stupidity. Nancy's case, senility and alcoholism. The two biggest incompetents are you two in Congress. And you want to talk about being afraid of competence? When he took over as chairman earlier this year, Schiff launched a new Intelligence Committee investigation into alleged collusion and money laundering involving Trump and his associates. For the past 2 years, the Senate Intelligence Committee also has investigated Russian interference in the 2016 election, including allegations of Trump ties to Russia. Right, okay, both houses of Congress did their own investigations besides Mueller, and they found absolutely no collusion. No one has found an ounce of collusion. All right, but they don't want to talk about the fact that both investigations from the House and the Senate found absolutely nothing, along with Mueller's investigation, because they cannot let this go. They have bet everything on this Russian collusion bullshit narrative. I mean, this is ridiculous. So for the past 2 years, the Senate Intelligence Committee has also investigated Russian interference in the 2016 election, including allegations of Trump ties to Russia. Again, found absolutely nothing. On Thursday, the panel met privately with Jared Kushner, its second interview with the president's son-in-law and senior advisor, and they still haven't found shit. There's no indictments. There's nothing, and people should just be allowed to go on with their lives now, and you drop this bullshit, you dumb Democrat dipshits. Elsewhere on Capitol Hill, Republicans closely aligned with the president have urged for a return to inquiries focused on how the federal law enforcement agencies conducted themselves during the investigations of Trump and Russia and Hillary Clinton's emails, topics House Republicans explored last year. Yes, which there should be, because literally the DOJ, the FBI, and others covered up for Hillary's email friggin' criminality. And Uranium One and other things, and have been doing it since Bill was president back in the day, when he was taking money from Chinese, quote-unquote, businessmen, which were CCP officials. Documented. You know, this is what gets me is there's all this documented shit with the Clintons. Documented. Enough to bring charges against them, enough to warrant investigations, and nothing happens to them. Now, because Trump wins, got to be Russian collusion, create a bullshit narrative, and then hope to try to fill in the narrative with facts after the fact. It's ridiculous. On Thursday, the House Judiciary Committee's ranking Republican rep, Douglas A. Collins of Georgia, released the transcript from a 2018 interview with Nellie Orr, a former employee of Fusion GPS, the firm behind a controversial dossier alleging Trump had personal and financial ties to Russia. You mean a completely debunked fucking dossier, the one that was used for the basis of the Russian investigation. I love how you people keep trying to tout this fucking proven fake dossier as credible. And it was the foundation for the Russian investigation But you kind of go and try to keep that part separate. Huh. Go figure. I mean, this is ridiculous. Orr's husband, Justice Department official Bruce Orr, met on several occasions with the author of that dossier, former British intelligence agent Christopher Steele. In her interview, Nellie Orr told congressional investigators that part of the work she did for Fusion GPS involved looking into open source materials concerning political links between Trump, his subordinates, and organized crime. Okay, open source documents. So, what are we talking, Wikipedia? Because that's considered open source because the community contributes to it. Because that's the definition of open source is. Were these community contributed documents, or are you just twisting the idea of what open source documents are? I mean, this is ridiculous. These people, if they do not get the full report, which they cannot because the law says that certain things have to be redacted, like, you know, for the protection of the people involved with the grand jury, they're going to claim cover-up. They're setting up so that they can do that because they've got nothing left. They are that desperate. Instead of just trying to, you know, distance themselves from this, sweep it under the rug, and hope in less than 2 years people don't remember this shit, they're not going to do that. It's ridiculous. Maybe they should. Because the only people, if they keep pushing this, that they're going to have vote for them are the leftists. They're not going to get any substantial numbers from the rest of society in this country to vote for him in 2020. It's just not going to happen. Which is probably a good thing when they're pulling this shit. But anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here.
If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.